Bad weather. Oh, horrible weather. I am sick and tired of the weather. Can you think of the last time you had some kind of conversation like that with someone about how bad the weather is? It could be it's too cold or it's too hot, and something along the lines of I've had it with the weather. It's like a bad relationship that we're trying to break up from. Like, we're gonna end this. That's it. I'm done with you, weather. And unfortunately, and maybe fortunately, the weather's gonna be around. So in this video, I'll be sharing 3 different ways to rethink and maybe improve the relationship we have with the changing conditions in the weather. I am Qasim Almashat, and before we go over the different ways of rethinking this relationship with the weather, just wanted to put it on the table that the weather naturally can have a range of impact on us, some emotional response. In fact, it even has an emotional response on animals, such as thunder or lightning. Of course it does. Now, this range or spectrum of emotion can also include worries or fears, and at the end of that scale or the spectrum, it can also even go into phobias, such as astrophobia. And this is where people develop these irrational worries about the weather, including thunder and lightning. So it's a very specific kind of phobia. And as always, when you are unsure of how to manage or deal with something, I just really encourage you to be checking in with your general practitioner, your doctor, your GP, or if you have a mental health care provider. So how do we change this relationship we have with the weather? Well, it begins with the way we think of it, because that will then spill over to conversations we have with others. But of course, it's going to start right over here with each one of us. There's a beautiful quote by Maya Angelou that really struck a chord for me. It goes something like this. What you're supposed to do if you don't like something or if you don't like a thing, change it. If you can't change it, change the way you think about it. Don't complain. That's what a quote, isn't it? So there's a sense of we can either do something about it, and if we can't, we can do something about how we think about it. These are 2 options that are both really viable. But the complaining about it may not really support us. By the way, if you're finding this useful so far, feel free to like, share, and maybe subscribe if you haven't done so already. I want to share with you a certain lens that I found really useful and many people have found very supportive in changing a perspective, which is the lens of mindfulness and what mindfulness meditation really can support us in. So let's begin with the first principle that can help us. The weather is impersonal. So the weather just is. It's actually not doing it to us. So it's not happening to us. It's just happening. And it's happening because certain laws of nature. We have temperature, humidity, winds, all these factors come together, and we have the weather. So it's going to continue happening as long as there's this earth, weather is going to come and go. So it's impersonal. And when we start calling it names and making judgment about it, like it's miserable or it's crazy, I've heard that. Actually, this happened a couple of weeks ago. I was at the gym, and this very pleasant man, we said good morning to each other, and the next word he said, it's the weather's crazy, just crazy. And he walked by. And it's become kind of way we talk to each other, but it's really very impersonal. Maybe one way to do that different, as we realize it's impersonal, focusing on descriptive language rather than judgmental language. Descriptive rather than judgmental. So instead of saying it's miserable, just describing the weather. Oh, raining heavily, or it's sunny with whatever degree it is. So we're describing. It could be a sandstorm. You're describing what actually is. Descriptive language really reduces the reaction when we make a judgment, like it's miserable or it's depressing, or because the weather is impersonal. It's not being something. The second principle that we can keep in mind is impermanence. The weather is impermanent. Mindfulness really shows us that there's a range of thoughts and emotions that we all have. Come and they go. They come and they go. Our body sensations come and go. Nothing's exactly the same forever. Things shift, things change. So it's really helpful to keep that in mind. Things arise and pass, arise and pass. When we do that, when we bring this lens of mindfulness, we can become curious about this is how it is. Oh, it got a little warmer today, got a little colder today. Oh, this is the season we're in. Oh, this season is over. Now it's this season. We can just be with what's here, knowing things come and go, knowing things are impermanent. Okay, now are you ready for the third one? This one might be a little challenging for some of us, which is acceptance. Oh, acceptance. Now, acceptance does not mean we have to like it. Again, it's okay we have a preference for a certain temperature, but acceptance means a sense of acknowledging this is how it is. It's just how it is. Don't have to like it, but we need to be with it. So that's the change. Is acceptance means there's a willingness to work with what is. And what is, it might be hot. What is, it might be hailing. What is, it might be snowing. What is, it might be a sandstorm. Whatever it is for wherever you live, this is how it is. Now, with this sense of being with what is, it opens up another doorway. When we're accepting, we can experience the range. See, mindfulness helps us see that there's pleasant things, and there are things that are unpleasant, and some things are like, neutral. All of them are in experience. And when we accept what is, we can feel the things that are unpleasant. If it's too hot or too cold, like, oh yeah, this is, just unpleasant. But we don't shut down to the rest of a range. So it might be really cold. It may feel unpleasant, but it also has pleasant moments. It might be snowing, might be a sense of a coolness, of a fresh air, which we will miss in the summer. And same thing in the summer, when it's really hot, we're like, oh, can't wait to the coolness. Well, then when it's hot, we can be with hot. When it's cold, we just be with cold. This allows us to experience all the range, not trying to make it positive or forcing it to be positive, but acknowledging whatever is unpleasant and opening our eyes to, okay, what might be good even about this? Because it's just here for now. It's like a visitor. We have a visitor that's here. It might bring some pleasant things as well. There's something about being present that can really help us connect with things that are pleasant. When we're present, something that maybe all of us experience as kids sometime. I remember when I was a kid and it rained and we're on some kind of ride in a car and I'm in the back seat looking at the window. I used to do this thing of looking at the raindrops on the window of a car and seeing which raindrop is gonna win. It's like a race. This one. Just being, I didn't know mindfulness then as a kid or being present, but I can remember it vividly how much I enjoyed it when it rained and watching the raindrops. And really, this is being present right there with the rain. So this is something that can help us and open the door of experiencing our range of thoughts and emotions with the weather by just being present with the weather and soaking in whatever it is. It could be going for a walk with just the right rain gear and the smell of the rain. You can take a look and, oh, well, the rain is watering. Watering all these plants. Without it, it will be just a barren desert. So it can really help us connect with what the rain is doing, and it's kind of change the feeling of bad weather, right? Or weather's being horrible. It's just a water drop that's doing its thing. Just a water drop. So all the weather conditions, when we look at it that way, we can just become curious about it and not take it personal, and see how it's impermanent, and change the relationship we have with it by accepting this is just how it is right now. This is not to say there's hail or dangerous thunder, obviously common sense. Please don't go out, in conditions that are dangerous. So, or if it's like massive heat, don't just go out and go, oh, I'm just being and accepting the weather, and then get a heat stroke. Obviously, this requires common sense, taking care of our body and our health. So we will all have so many opportunities throughout the year because the weather is gonna be around. May all these different thoughts that I share today support you in rethinking the weather, not only reducing some of the suffering that we have around it when it changes, but actually even turning to it, becoming curious about it, and how you can maybe rethink or change how you think about the weather. And of course, if there's things we can change about the conditions, looking at climate change and things that each of us can take more responsibility for, of course, these are action points we can take on. But the change we can do quite immediately is right here, change in our mind. And thank you for watching. Hope you found this useful, and if you haven't done so already, feel free to subscribe and check out the links below, including upcoming events. May your moments be filled with ease, and may you be present with as many of them